WLNS is here for you with 6 News at 11.
After weeks in a maximum security prison in Mexico, a Spring Arbor couple is on their way back to mid-Michigan right now. It is our top story at 11. Thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones. Siobhan has the night off. Paul and Christy Arqueo were arrested by Mexican police immediately after landing in Cancun, Mexico earlier this month. They spent weeks in a prison after the Palace Company accused the couple of defrauding one of its resorts out of more than $100,000. But now they're on a private jet on their way home. Our Rachel Ramsey is at the Lansing airport right now waiting their arrival. Rachel, what's the latest?
Sherry, 4 weeks in a maximum security prison in Mexico. Now returning home into the United States. Christy and Paul Arqueo are expected to land right behind me within the hour. It's quiet right now, but it shouldn't be quiet once the family reunions begin. The Arqueo's family tells us the two were arrested on March 4th in a Cancun airport right after landing. The Arqueo's attorney says the couple did not defraud the Palace Company, but rather the couple disputed their contract with the resort, saying the Palace Company was not honoring it. After they were arrested and placed in a maximum security prison, Christy's children began reaching out for help. Congressman Tom Barrett heard about the situation, and yesterday he flew to Mexico where he met with the Arqueos and heard their story. The congressman tells us he then spoke with Mexican officials to see what relief could be provided to the couple. We don't know the details of that conversation yet, but we have been told that the Arqueos are expected to be back in the United States and touch down right here in Lansing with the congressman in the next 30 minutes. Following their landing, we are expecting to speak with Congressman Barrett to learn more about his conversation with Mexican officials and more about the entire situation. So stick with us as we continue to learn more about this developing story. Here for you live in Lansing, Rachel Ramsey, 6 News.
All right, thank you, Rachel. We'll check back with you, so keep in touch with us. Wall Street lost more than $2 trillion in value today. President Donald Trump's new sweeping global tariffs triggered a stock sell-off that sent markets plummeting. As Erica Brown reports, the White House is trying to reassure Americans that everything will work out.
The markets are going to boom, the stock is going to boom, the country is going to boom.
President Trump remained optimistic after his sweeping new tariffs sparked the stock market's worst single-day sell-off since the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020.
I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is.
The White House expects the tariffs will balance a trade deficit President Trump labeled a national emergency. But economists warn the cost of tariffs will ultimately fall on American consumers.
The president's trade policy is going to do a lot of economic damage. It's going to reduce the income of households. It's going to reduce the purchasing power of wages. It's going to increase unemployment.
Top Democrats slammed the president's trade policy.
He's walking us into the dumbest and most avoidable recession probably in history.
A 10% tariff on all U.S. imports is set to take effect this weekend. That's on top of reciprocal tariffs slated for next week. And Thursday, the Trump administration imposed a 25% tariff on foreign-made cars and auto parts, sparking backlash from trade partners. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney unveiled retaliatory tariffs against the U.S.
By matching the U.S. approach with 25% tariffs on all vehicles imported from the United States that are not compliant with CUSMA, our North American Free Trade Agreement.
And car maker Stellantis announced it will be pausing production at its plants in Canada and Mexico as it assesses the impact of the new tariffs. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Now, that reaction from car makers was not lost on Michigan's newest Senator, Elissa Slotkin. She says tariffs can be an effective economic strategy, but calls the sweeping tariffs announced yesterday, quote, chaotic and ramshackle.
We've seen Stellantis in Michigan already announce 900 layoffs. Obviously, that's not good. But, I think we're all just trying to adjust to this ever-changing reality. And what I know is that businesses thrive when they have stability and predictability, and that's certainly not the moment we find ourselves in.
Stay with 6 News. We're following the very latest economic developments for you, and we'll let you know how these tariffs will impact your budget and the economy. Speaking of money, congressional Republicans are preparing a rapid-fire voting session to approve a massive spending bill that will advance President Trump's domestic agenda. Hannah Brandt has the reactions from both sides of the aisle.
A new budget blueprint from Senate Republicans has President Trump's nod of approval.
The Senate plan has my complete and total support.
Their proposal extends the president's signature 2017 tax cuts.
Making the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act permanent will ensure that Americans' take-home pay does not go down, and it will have significant economic benefits.
The Senate budget plan also calls for $4 billion in government spending cuts.
Senate Republicans are going to continue to put an end to this wasteful Washington spending.
Democratic senators argue the tax policies will only benefit the rich. And though Republicans say their funding cuts won't come from Social Security or Medicaid, Democrats say they don't believe that.
Senate Republicans are getting ready to take away vital programs, throw people off Medicaid, all so they can give massive tax breaks to billionaires.
The Republican-controlled Senate is gearing up for a vote-a-rama this week on the framework, which will kickstart a long and complex process. If they can get the framework through, that clears the way to eventually pass a budget bill without needing Democratic votes. And Republicans are facing pressure from the president to get it done soon.
That's a nice group of people, but I won't like them so much if they don't get this bill done.
In Washington, I'm Hannah Brandt.
Also in Washington tonight, former heart surgeon and television pitchman Mehmet Oz is the new head of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The Senate confirmed him on a party line vote today. Dr. Oz will now control the service that provides health care coverage for roughly half of all Americans. He has not yet said whether he would oppose cuts to Medicaid, which have been proposed by some Republican members of Congress. Planned Parenthood announced plans to permanently close several of its locations in Michigan, including on Michigan Avenue in Jackson. The organization says it's restructuring its operations statewide to protect its long-term sustainability as it faces political attacks and loss of funding. Planned Parenthood offices in Jackson, Marquette, and Petoskey will close at the end of the month, with the last patient appointment set for April 25th. Planned Parenthood provides a wide range of sexual and reproductive health services, but it most notably is associated with abortion. In the meantime, Right to Life Michigan is celebrating the announcement that Planned Parenthood offices are closing in Michigan. Organization President Amber Roseboom accuses Planned Parenthood of helping to eliminate health and safety regulations for clinics and says the closure of these offices demonstrates that Planned Parenthood cannot meet the needs of women. Well, after 6 decades of serving the local art community, the Lansing Art Gallery and Education Center held its final closing reception earlier tonight. The gallery has been facing financial issues for months now, including the loss of some major donors, and the situation has just become unsustainable. Tonight's event included a silent auction, a sale of selected pieces of Michigan artwork.
Closing doesn't reflect the support that the arts community has. We're just, unfortunately, we just were dealt a weird hand at a weird time post-COVID.
We're so pleased to be able to see this kind of reception, this kind of attendance at this event. As sad as it is, we're hoping to make it a happy event even still.
More liquidation events are planned throughout the month of April, with the next one scheduled for April 17th.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
This has certainly been a huge week for severe weather in the state of Michigan and for points to the south, even more devastating to the south. But we're still tallying up the numbers from Sunday's tornadoes. National Weather Service earlier today confirmed yet another tornado. This one was in Kent County, and this was an EF0 tornado, which is, of course, not all that strong, but it was yet another tornado. So the count is now at 10, with a few other areas being investigated. As we look at the storm reports over the past couple of days, or tornado reports, boy, there have been a ton. And the video just devastating to the south with massive tornadoes, death and destruction. It has been a really rough week, especially for our neighbors to the south. A number of tornado reports at 50 or 56, total reports with 67, including the funnel clouds, but you can see the basic area being affected by those, and it's not over. Severe weather still happening in those same areas again today, and then tomorrow, a level 4 risk across northeastern sections of Texas into Arkansas, and stretching north and east. Level 1 risk into Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois as well. And then on Saturday Saturday, yet more big severe weather is possible, but all of that stays south of the state of Michigan. When we got a little thunder in the forecast Friday night, tonight, no worries, just some cloud cover out there. As you look at precision cast through tomorrow morning, we'll start to clear things out. So some sunshine tomorrow morning, then clouds thicken back up. Tomorrow evening, some showers move through, and there's enough instability. We could hear a little thunder late Friday, early Saturday, but no severe weather is anticipated. Then as we move into Saturday afternoon, that'll start to clear to the east. The clouds won't, but the rain will, so we'll dry things out, but probably keep it a little on the gloomy side. Temperatures at least will climb into the 50s. Temps tonight cooling off nicely, 42 Owasso, 41 for Lansing, 42 in St. John's. To the south, readings now in the 40s as well. On the Skyview Network, the numbers from today pretty impressive. High temperature on the McLaren Cam at 63 degrees. The low is our current temperature. And look at that wind gust up to 41 miles per hour today. In Grand Ledge tonight, temperature-wise, not doing too bad. Little on the cool side at 40 after a high today of 62. 36-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Of course, all the rainfall totals light since midnight, but we picked up some 1 to 3 inches yesterday across the region. 43 currently in Jackson. Today's high was up to 64 degrees. And finally tonight in Hillsdale, where we've got cloudy skies, temperatures at 43 degrees. That is our low. Our daytime high was up to a very pleasant 63. Tonight's forecast will dip down to 35 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Winds should be light. Then for tomorrow, winds stay light. Temperature-wise, not too bad. We're near 55 degrees. Rain showers hold off until tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Should get out of here early Saturday, leaving us with a fairly nice Sunday. Partly cloudy but cool. Highs in the upper 40s. Rain and snow showers on Monday. Highs in the low 40s. Kind of cold on Tuesday. But let's look beyond that. Next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we start to warm up, and we're looking at some sunshine and high temperatures in the 60s next weekend.
Very nice. We can split the weekend. Sunday looks nice.
I mean, we've got some 50s, we've got some sunshine, a little bit of everything.
Very good. Thanks, David. Coming up on 6 News at 11, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is trying to reassure our NATO allies that they can rely on the United States. We'll have that story next. That and much more straight ahead on 6 News at 11.